Hello! I am surrounded by guitars today because we are talking about the different parts that make up an acoustic guitar. We're also going to be looking briefly at where some of those differences or similarities are with the electric guitar, but we're not going to go into all of the parts of an electric guitar. We're mostly going to be concerned about the main parts that make up basically how guitars work. If we start with this, which is a acoustic guitar, the first thing you'll see is obviously the body of the guitar. That's this bit here. Normally these are made out of different woods. You can occasionally get plastic guitars, but we're going to look at wood ones today. Quite often this is spruce wood, and on the front of the guitar, or the top of the guitar as it's called, the back and the sides of the guitar, also made normally of wood. They're often mahogany, or sometimes sapele, and sometimes I've got a oak guitar actually. I've not got it with me today, but I've got a guitar that's made of oak. They're all different what's called tone woods, and they are woods that are specifically chosen for the qualities and the sound that they produce. But anyway, here's the body of the guitar and the top bit here. Now, what you'll find in most acoustic guitars is a big sound hole here. This is where obviously the sound comes out of. This part vibrates and it gets pushed, the sound gets pushed from inside the guitar to out through the sound hole. The next thing that we have is this bottom bit here called the bridge. Now these look different on different guitars, but the basic premise is the same. The strings will go over the bridge. These are the strings obviously. The strings go over the bridge, and that's what starts or actually the end of the string, because the top of the string is up there. This is the bottom part of the string, and it goes on this bridge here. They look different on different guitars, so I'll quickly show you a few of those. On this electric guitar, we have a bridge that looks like this. This is actually a two-part bridge. Here's where the strings stop, and that bit just holds the strings on. Different electric guitars also look different as well. Then we can see that that has a slightly different bridge, and that's across there. And you can get slightly different designs on acoustic guitars as well. If we move up the body of the guitar, we then get to the neck. That's this part here, which is where all the strings go across. The neck has on it the fretboard. Now the fretboard is very important, particularly when we start looking at forming chords. And in fact, playing the guitar is all to do with the fretboard. The fretboard is made of these frets, which are these little bits of metal, normally metal, just here and here and here and here. You'll get different amounts of frets on guitars, but generally, anything I teach you in these videos you'll be fine, because we'll be using the frets up here. Some of them have more or less down here. That doesn't really concern us today. Most fretboards look pretty similar. Made of different things sometimes. But again, if we look at this electric guitar, it still has the fretboard and still has frets. These little markers here are literally just that. They're just little markers to tell us what fret number we're on. Here's number 1, number 2, number 3 is marked, number 4, number 5 is marked, 6, 7 is marked, 8, 9 is marked, 10, 11 and 12 are marked. Sometimes guitars aren't marked on the fretboard themselves. Sometimes they have little dots here, which you can just see. Sometimes they don't have marks at all on here, but most guitars generally have fret markers, at least on the 3rd, 5th, 7th and 12th. If we move up the fretboard, we get to this part here, which is called the nut. This is the top part of the string as far as the tuning is concerned. So the string essentially starts here, goes all the way down onto the bridge part here. One thing that I haven't mentioned just yet is this guitar. It's called a square shoulder Dreadnought. That's just the shape of this particular guitar. So here we have also a square shoulder Dreadnought, but it has a cutaway. And that just means that I can get up to these top frets slightly easier. And you'll find that it's the same with electric guitars as well. In fact, most electric guitars have a cutaway. This one, you can see here, it's got its cutaway there. This one kind of has two cutaways, one here and one here, which just really allows you to get to these top frets and play these parts. If we move up to the top part of the guitar, beyond the nut we get this part, which is called the headstock. The headstock has on it these things, which are the tuning pegs. Sometimes they're referred to as machine heads, but I generally call them tuning pegs. There's the back of it, as we can see there. And this is basically what the string is wound onto. The string is wound onto these, so this is the lowest string, the E string. It's wound onto this tuning peg here, and then I use a tuner itself to tune the guitar higher or lower in pitch. This piece here, which you can just see on this guitar, I'll show you some others in a minute, is what's called a truss rod cover. You'll often find these on guitars. Not all guitars have truss rods, but some do. And a truss rod is a piece of metal that runs down the length inside the neck of the guitar, and it helps to keep the neck straight. And if it starts to bend, it also allows for adjustment if you take that off. Although I wouldn't recommend doing that yourself. Get someone who is used to working with guitars to do any adjustments like that. So that's what it looks like on this guitar. And not all have covers. If we look at this one, you can actually see a hole. You can't really see the truss rod itself from in there, but well, barely, just about see it maybe. This one is got an open truss rod, and then you can make your adjustment from there. So that's the basic parts of the guitar. All guitars will have most of those things. All will have a fretboard, all will have frets, all will have the headstock and the tuning pegs. Not all, of course, will have the sound hole, because an electric guitar generally doesn't have a sound hole. There are a few that do have them, but generally an electric guitar doesn't have a sound hole. And they all have a bridge and a nut. They quite often look quite different depending on what make of guitar you have, or what type of guitar you have, or if you have an electric or an acoustic guitar, but they all have the same things. Okay, we know the parts of the guitar, but now we need to sort out the tuning of the guitar, because that sounded dreadful. So, first thing we need to know is we have 6 strings on our guitar, as we said before. They are tuned to E, A, D, G, B, and another E, which is a higher E than this one, and we'll look to that in a minute or two. So, first thing I would recommend is to get a tuner. You can get various different tuners for your guitar that work in slightly different ways. This is one of them. This is one example. You can get different ones that look a lot like this. They work by picking up the sound of the guitar, if it's an acoustic guitar, through the microphone that's here. If you have a electric guitar, or if you have an acoustic guitar that has a pickup in it, then you can plug it in through here. And that again will tell you if you are sharp or flat of whatever note you are playing. You can also get these, which are clip-on tuners. These clip onto the headstock of your guitar. There's a couple of examples there. That clips on here. And these work by the vibrations. They pick up the vibrations of the string that you're playing, and again tell you if you are sharp or flat. And you can also get apps for your phone. The various guitar manufacturers make their own ones, and you can also get other people make ones as well. And you can download those for your phone, and they work in the same way that this works with the microphone. They use your phone's microphone and tell you if you are sharp or flat. I'm going to use this one here so you guys can see what's going on. There we go. And I'm going to tune this guitar, because at the moment, as you heard, it sounds pretty terrible. So, if we start with the low E string, which is this one here, the thickest string and the one at the top of the guitar, as you play it. If I play it and listen to what this thing says, let's get it so you can see it, there we go. It's telling me that it is flat, actually, of a D sharp, so I need to go up because E is the next one. So what I'm doing is turning the tuning peg away from me. If your guitar is properly set up, then you should be able to make the note sound higher or sharper by turning the tuning peg away from you. Down would make it flatter, so this needs to go up, so I'm going to turn it away from me. And there we go. Now I've gone a little bit too high. You can just see the bit I want on this particular tuner is that blue bit there. I've just gone a little bit too sharp, so I'm going to turn that down. There we go. One little tip is if you do go too sharp, like that, rather than just tune down, actually go a bit too far down, and then tune back up again to hit the pitch you want. And the reason that we do that is because it just makes sure the string stays tight. If you turn it down, then the string will get slightly not as taut, and so it might just slip a little bit, so it's better to always tune up rather than tune down and stay there. So if you do go too far, go back down again. So that's the E string. And we have the A. Now the A is too sharp anyway, so again I'll tune it further down. So now we are flat of an A, and then tune back up again to hit the string. There we go. D is pretty much there anyway. The G is a bit flat. So tune that using this one. Sharp. There we go. And the final E string, which is reading as, oh yeah, it is, there we go, a little flat. Now this E is an octave higher than this E. That's the low E, which is a little flat anyway. There we go. And this is the high E, this is the sixth note. Tuned an octave apart. But most tuners will tell you, will know which one you're aiming for and tell you if you are sharp or flat of it. It's unlikely, but you might tune this one far too sharp and you'd end up snapping your string if you try to get it to be the same note as this one. Equally, this one, if you try and get it the same note as this one, you'll probably end up with your string on the floor because it'll be so low, it'll just fall off. But most tuners will know which one you're going for. So that's standard tuning. That is E, A, D, G, B, and E. And if I play an E chord, it now sounds nice, unlike when it wasn't in tune just a few minutes ago. Next video we shall start to look at some of the first chords that you can learn in order to start playing some songs.